Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance of Cincinnati, Ohio. I write a monthly blog, and you can find that on our website at audibleelegance.com. We do work on Facebook and Instagram. And tonight I thought I would show you one of my finds, because I look out there like everyone else to see what can be found. So I have it in an old Rotel box. Unfortunately, this particular receiver that came to me was destroyed. And so I kept the box because it's a fine box. But we're going to show you what can exist out there. And we're going to do a series of videos on restoration. Anybody who's familiar with that type of mat recognizes it as a Thorens. And so I'm going to get this one out. I don't want anybody to scream in what they hear or see. And this, my friend, is essentially the equivalent of a barn find. It's a Thorens TD125 Mark II. In her day, a very lovely table. Mounted on it is an SME tone arm. You can just imagine the condition of that is in. So that may be the biggest challenge of all. This came from an area along the seaboard, so you can see that the retaining screws essentially had started to rust pretty seriously. In transporting it, I immediately packed a piece of paper underneath so that I did not have the bearing banging on the thrust plate. We may, in fact, take advantage of a device brought to my attention by a commenter that there's actually a plate you can install down the bearing well for the bearing to ride on if the bottom of the bearing has a dimple in it, so to speak. As you can see with the 125, and this also is a 126 and a couple others, the strobe is actually buried underneath the inner platter. We're looking at this, and we can see some fair amount of dirt, but nothing serious. The motor itself seems to be okay. We have no belt. And so the first steps in trying to work a restoration is to try to figure out what you even have. And so we're going to have to get a belt for this before we can do any sort of testing. What I can do is see that if it even powers up. And I bought this thing, purchased, but almost sight unseen. And it's kind of trying to figure out what we have. So we know that the strobe system is operational. We have no movement out of the motor assembly. Now, this can be caused by a bad motor, can also be caused by a need of lubrication, or the controls themselves could be very dirty. I'm going to go with it's dirty. The other one that's common is the speed control can be fouled. But at this point, what we have is a table that's a really nice doorstop. And that's about as far as it goes. So this working here tells me the current should be going through. So it's either in the strobe or in the speed. And so we're going to have to start from there and find out what we have. So that's the beginning of, okay, I found it. Now what do I do? And we'll continue the story. Next time, we'll start with removing the bottom plate to take a look at what's going on underneath there. As I said, the suspension system used in terms of springs, grommets, is similar to the Lin LP12. I'm sure given its age, replacing those should be an automatic. And I'll try to figure out what's going on with the motor, because it's free spinning in terms of twinning, so it's not bound up, but itself it's not spinning at all. So there's no sense my buying a belt for the table if the motor itself is not running. So when you're trying to restore something, particularly turntables, try to make sure that you actually have a motor or system that works before you go off and start spending $20 or $30 on a belt, only to find out that you spent $20 or $30 on a belt for a turntable that will never work. And this is kind of like, let's play the game and have some fun. I get into these things more for kicks than anything else. It's kind of a challenge. Can I make it work? As opposed to anything else. So there we are. That's the Thorens TD125. Next time we'll have it in a disassembly mode. Its size is bigger than a Lin LP12 jig, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll make it happen. There we are.